The 10 Stages of Psychedelic Integration, a journey within a modern interpretation of the 10 ox-herding pictures, told through the lens of a businessman's journey into self-discovery through plant medicines, from curiosity to deep integration and a fuller life. 1. The Whisper of Something More, the Call to the Unknown. Mark has everything he was told would make him happy: an executive title, a high-rise apartment, and a packed schedule. His days are filled with meetings, emails, and expensive dinners. His nights, with restless thoughts and a subtle but growing emptiness. Then, one evening at a networking event, he overhears a conversation. A venture capitalist talks about ayahuasca, how it changed his life, how it showed him truths buried deep inside himself. Another mentions psilocybin therapy, the next big thing in mental health. Mark scoffs, but something lingers. Could there be something real in this? He brushes it off, but later, alone in his apartment, he stares at the city lights, the same view he's had for years. Why does it all feel so hollow? 2. Seeing the Trail, Research and Curiosity. Mark starts looking into it, first out of skepticism, then out of intrigue. He reads about neuroscience and psychedelics, how psilocybin quiets the ego, how ayahuasca connects people to repressed trauma, how these experiences are ancient, not just Silicon Valley trends. He watches videos of people describing mystical experiences, oneness, ego death, deep healing. Their eyes glow with something he doesn't quite understand. Late at night, he finds himself scrolling through forums, reading trip reports, stories of profound visions, encounters with ancestors, and lives forever changed. Something stirs in him. Could there really be a deeper part of himself waiting to be discovered? 3. The First Leap, Meeting the Gatekeepers. Curiosity turns to action. Mark reaches out. A friend of a friend introduces him to an underground facilitator, a woman who runs plant medicine circles. She talks about set and setting, intention, and integration. This isn't about getting high, she tells him. It's about getting real. He meets others who have gone through the experience, an entrepreneur who left corporate life to start an intentional community, a doctor who healed his depression through psilocybin, a woman who faced childhood trauma in an ayahuasca ceremony and found peace. They aren't hippies or dropouts. They are people like him, seekers, professionals, skeptics, turned believers. Mark decides. He's ready. 4. The First Journey, Facing the Unknown. Mark books a psilocybin retreat. He arrives at a secluded house in nature. The facilitator gives a final reminder: trust the medicine. He eats the mushrooms, lies back, and waits. At first it's strange visuals, shifting patterns, then the dissolution of self. He sees his life from above, the endless meetings, the way he numbs with alcohol and status, the walls he's built around his emotions. Then come the memories, childhood pain, moments of abandonment, the root of the anxiety he's carried for years. Tears come. He sees himself as he really is. When he comes back, he writes pages in his journal. Something in him has changed. But this is only the beginning. 5. The Challenge of Integration. The real work begins. Back in the city, the old world feels different. Emails, small talk, superficial conversations, they seem absurd. He's calmer, more aware, but also untethered. The facilitator warned him. The medicine isn't the healing, the integration is. He starts therapy. He meditates. He spends time in nature. But old patterns pull at him. The temptation to drown his experience in work, to intellectualize it instead of feeling it. Doubt creeps in. Was it all just a drug trip? But then, in a moment of stress, he pauses. He breathes. He remembers what the medicine showed him. And instead of reacting, he chooses differently. 6. Finding the others. Community and connection. Mark realizes he can't do this alone. He finds integration circles, safe spaces where people share their experiences. He meets others walking the same road, entrepreneurs, artists, parents, people from all walks of life, all seeking something deeper. For the first time, he has real conversations, No small talk, no posturing, just raw, honest truth. He doesn't have to explain himself. They understand. The loneliness he carried for years starts to fade. 7. The old self fades. A new identity emerges. Mark notices the shift. He no longer forces things. He allows. He listens more. He feels more. The version of himself that was only his job, his money, his status, it's dissolving. But he's not lost. He's becoming. One evening, as he walks home, he watches the sunset, something he's never bothered to notice before. For the first time in years, he feels alive. 8. No seeker, no search. Just being. One day, he realizes something. He no longer thinks about psychedelics. He no longer needs plant medicine to feel connected. He has integrated the lessons. Presence is his default state. Conversations, laughter, deep moments of stillness. They are all medicine now. He isn't chasing enlightenment anymore. He is just living. 9. Returning to the world. A life more fully lived. Mark goes back to work, but he's not the same. He leads with presence. He listens to his employees with real attention. He no longer acts out of stress or ego. He takes time for things that matter. His relationships, his health, his inner world. The world didn't change, but his experience of it has. 10. Sharing without preaching. The quiet influence. People start noticing. You seem different, a colleague says. Mark doesn't preach. He doesn't try to convert anyone. But when people ask, he shares. Psychedelics, they say, half joking. It's not about that, he smiles. It's about learning to really see yourself. Some listen, some don't. It's not his job to convince anyone, but those who are ready, they hear him. And so, the cycle begins again. Conclusion. This is the psychedelic integration journey, not in jungles or mountaintops, but in boardrooms, apartments, and city streets. The mind, the ego, the shadow, they are still restless, still wild. But with patience, intention, and deep integration, anyone can embody the change. And when the seeker dissolves, only life remains.